I categorically reject the baseless allegation made by the United States. Once again, the representative of the United States has resorted to lies and disinformation against Iran. The facts are clear. In the midst of diplomatic negotiation together with the Israeli regime, the United States betrayed diplomacy twice and launched 2 wars of aggression against Iran in blatant violation of the Charter of the United Nations and international law. These violations constitute a grave threat to international peace and security. I also reject the unfounded accusation made by certain Western members of the Council and the representative of Bahrain. Instead of addressing the root cause of the current crisis, they have ignored the unlawful aggression committed against Iran, remained silent in the face of these serious violations, and sought to shift blame onto the victims. Their double standards and hypocritical behavior have deprived them of any credibility to lecture others. Against this background, I would like to make the following points. First, Iran is the main victim of the wars of aggression launched by the United States and Israeli regime. The role of the victims and aggressor must not be reversed. The United States and Israeli regime have flagrantly violated the UN Charter and international law, including international humanitarian law, by imposing 2 unjustified and unwarranted wars against the Iranian people. During the attacks in June 2025 and between 28 February and 8 April 2026, the United States deliberately targeted civilians and civilian infrastructure, including hospitals, sport facilities, schools, and cultural sites. Even the President of the United States and other senior U.S. officials publicly admitted to and openly boasted about committing these heinous war crimes against the Iranian people and civilian infrastructure. More than 4,800 civilians, including women and children, were killed. The killing of schoolgirls in Minab remains one of the most horrific examples of this atrocious crime. The Security Council failure to discharge its responsibilities has reinforced impunity and emboldened further unlawful acts. The United States and the Israeli regime bear full responsibility for all the consequences of these wars of aggression and must be held fully accountable. Second, the United States has repeatedly violated the 8 April ceasefire and its commitments under the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding by launching further attacks against Iran's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Iran has exercised its inherent right of self-defense in accordance with Article 51 of the Charter. Its defensive measures were directed against U.S. military facilities and bases and its assets in the region from which attacks against Iran were launched. We strongly condemn the United States' recent air attacks and aggression of 27 June 2026 against Iran's southern coastal facilities, which constituted a flagrant violation of Article 2, Paragraph 4 of the Charter, as well as a clear breach of Paragraph 1 of the Islamabad MOU. Third, certain members referred to the politically motivated Resolution 2817. Iran's position regarding Resolution 2817 is clear, consistent, and well documented in the communication circulated as official document of the Security Council. Iran has rejected this politically motivated resolution. The resolution was adopted through a one-sided and politicized process and ignored the root cause of the crisis, denied Iran's inherent right of self-defense, and failed to determine the United States and Israeli regime as aggressors. No Security Council resolution can deprive a member state of its inherent right of self-defense under the UN Charter. Should aggression against Iran continue, or should the United States continue to violate the MOU, Iran will continue to exercise this inherent right to protect its sovereignty and territorial integrity. Rather than blaming Iran, these Council members should call on the United States to honor its commitments, cease its unlawful actions, and comply fully with the UN Charter and international law. Fourth, despite the deep mistrust to the United States caused by its repeated violation and the U.S. betrayal of diplomacy, Iran engaged in diplomacy in good faith through negotiations facilitated by Pakistan and supported by Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, China, and the Russian Federation. This process resulted in the signing of the MOU on 17 June. We express our appreciation to Pakistan and Qatar for their tireless efforts and invaluable contribution to this process. The MOU clearly requires the United States to negotiate in good faith, and in particular to refrain from any threat or use of force against Iran. This commitment constituted a fundamental and indispensable obligation under the MOU, serving as an essential condition for preserving the confidence, stability, and good faith necessary for the successful continuation of the negotiation process. Yet, by launching another act of aggression and relying on a unilateral and legally unfounded interpretation of the MOU, the United States committed a material breach of its commitment and seriously undermined the diplomatic process. Fifth, Iran remains fully committed to implementing the MOU, including its provisions concerning the Strait of Hormuz, provided that the United States faithfully fulfill its own obligations. Paragraph 5 of the MOU provide, and I quote, "The Islamic Republic of Iran will make arrangement using its best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vessels, free of charge for a period of 60 days, from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman and vice versa. The transit of commercial vessels will resume immediately, and taking into account the need to remove technical and military obstacles, the mining by the Islamic Republic of Iran will be completed within 30 days. End of the quote. As has been stated by Iran's foreign minister, under the agreed arrangement, responsibility for the management of maritime navigation through the Strait of Hormuz, including its reopening and all necessary demining operation, rests exclusively with Iran. The implementation of this arrangement is currently underway in accordance with the MOU, and Iran has launched technical dialogue with the Sultanate of Oman. Any external interference or attempt to establish parallel arrangement would violate the MOU, undermine its implementation, delay the restoration of normal commercial navigation, put at risk safe maritime navigation, and increase regional tension. We therefore call upon all states, particularly the United States, to respect in good faith the letter and spirit of the MOU and refrain from reinterpreting its contents or action that interferes with its implementation. Sixth, Iran reiterates its commitment to the freedom of navigation and continue to ensure that such freedom is granted for all without interference. It should have been clear that the presence of U.S. military bases and foreign interference in the Persian Gulf region brings nothing but insecurity. They have put at risk the regional security in general and the maritime safety in particular. The U.S. has no coastal border in our region. It is not their waters. It is not their neighborhood. Defining and concluding a security regime for our region is the exclusive joint responsibility of the neighboring countries, and the U.S. and others, rather than a destructive military presence or interference, needs to support regional countries to fulfill such responsibility. In conclusion, the priority must be the full implementation of the MOU and the continuation of negotiations toward a comprehensive deal. The Security Council should support this process, encourage full compliance with the MOU, and refrain from provocative actions that could undermine diplomacy or further escalate tensions. I thank you.